There we are. All right.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Happy New Year. It's 2026. Welcome to 2026. We are back tonight here on a Wednesday night from Starke, our North Florida Sports Talk. We're at Beef O'Brady's and Starke again tonight for another edition of College Football Talk, the College Football Gridiron Report. Corey Davis, I'm Marty Pallman.
Well,
And we are down
two semifinals
to
I'm at 2 weeks.
3 college.
and we're down.
We're down to the Division One. Everything else is wrapped up as of Monday night, right? That was the big ball game Monday night between Montana State and Illinois State. We'll talk about in a moment the FCS championship or FCS, but that ended up becoming a classic game as well. Division Two wrapping up, Division Three, and a little bit of a few stunners last week, maybe in on the college football side. I mean, maybe I don't know if I was surprised Indiana beat Alabama. I was surprised they beat them that bad. They pounded Alabama.
I think that was one of definitely the shockers, because the way that game started, Alabama sacked Fernando twice.
Yeah.
Indiana ended up punting. You're like, wow, okay, Alabama's ready to play, and
right.
Wow, that game quickly turned after that.
It did, and Indiana, I think the most impressive thing about that, their defense was hot in that game, and of course, you also I don't know. I was surprised Oregon beat Texas Tech like that too. I don't know if I was overly surprised. I actually kind of thought Ole Miss could beat Georgia. That was the best game of the 4. Miami beat Ohio State surprised me a little bit as well, but. So we've got Miami and Ole Miss tomorrow night at Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, and then you have Indiana and Oregon on Friday night at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. So I would say at this point, after watching these teams, I think Indiana's favored. It's going to be a good game, though, coming up Friday. Miami, though, they're playing well. Both Miami and Ole Miss both have looked good. So that game tomorrow night is going to be interesting, I think, they're playing in, not Tempe, I said.
Fiesta Bowl. The Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, that place. They play in Glendale, Arizona. So, yeah, but that's something we'll talk about throughout. We'll also take a look back at the bowl games. Bowl season ended as well. Last Friday was the last bowl games. So we've had almost a week off from Division One college football now after the games last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we'll take a look back at that, take a look back at how the season ended there, and also look ahead to the semifinals. Trying to decide if we're going to have a show next week. There are no games. We'll wait till the 19th and do our championship game show Monday the 19th. That is going to be our last show, but that's something we'll discuss. We'll let you know about that as well, because again, after Friday there are no games until the 19th. So let's take a look back first as we start at Division 3, and this game was Sunday night in Canton, Ohio. Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. We mentioned North Central, the defending champions, were unbeaten coming in, looking to win their 4th title in 7 years. They led this game 14-3, but Wisconsin River Falls scores 21 unanswered points, and the Falcons, Wisconsin River Falls, won their first title as they finished 14-1, beating North Central 24-14. Again, that was in Canton, Ohio, on Sunday. The Cardinals into the game. They won 29 consecutive games. Again, we're looking for their 4th title in the last 7 years. And it looked like they were going to do it again, up 14-3 midway through the second quarter. But Wisconsin River Falls scores 21 unanswered points, not allow another point the rest of the game. 2 interceptions of the defense. They had 436 yards. The Cardinals 363 North Central. So kind of a little bit of an upset there. Wisconsin River Falls winning Division 3.
Yeah, I got to watch the end of this game, the last couple minutes of the 4th quarter, and apparently I missed everything because, it was 14-3, and then they went on this run and took the lead. And what little bit I saw, North Central was not able to do anything on offense. Kudos to the River Falls Falcons defense for shutting them down. Weather was not an issue in this game. There was no snow. There was no rain. And obviously the offenses still put up high numbers. I mean, combined was 799 combined total yards. But the defense showed up when they had to help the Falcons win their first ever national championship.
Yeah, and again, they go 14-1. North Central hadn't lost in 2 years, so kind of a stunner for them to have their run in there. But as you said, weather not an issue in Canton, Ohio. Didn't have to worry about the snow, which we've seen some of these teams play up in Montana and throughout the FCS playoffs. But so Wisconsin River Falls gets their first national championship in Division III, and that leads us to, as Corey still calls it, 1AA, and we still call it that. It's officially the FCS, but
I will never call it that.
yeah, the FCS championship. But Montana State, boy, I tell you, Illinois State rode the Road Warriors all the way to the end, and man, they were that close to pulling off a national championship. But this game goes to overtime. Well, actually, Montana State was up 21-7 at the half. Illinois State then came back, scored 21 points in the second half, outscored them 21-7 to tie it at 28-all. Both teams had chances to win in the final fourth quarter and win the game, but they weren't able to. They went to overtime. And in the overtime period, Illinois State scored first, had the extra point blocked, and Montana State on fourth and 15, throws a touchdown pass and gets the extra point. So Montana State seeded second, wins the national title. They finished 14-2, 35-34 over Illinois State in overtime. Justin Lamson, 18-27, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. His wide receiver, Taco Dowler, I love that name, 8 catches for 111 yards, caught the winning touchdown. For Illinois State, quarterback Tommy Rittenhouse, 33 of 46, 311 yards, 4 touchdowns. Tailback Victor Dawson rushed for 126 yards on 29 carries, and Dylan Lord had 13 receptions for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. Illinois State ends up 12-5. This game played at Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, and again, I don't think the weather was an issue there either.
No weather issues in this game either.
That was Monday night.
Yeah.
So, boy, what a game that was! Quite a game.
Yeah, I like the other game. I caught the end of this game, and both teams were tied towards the end of regulation. Illinois State gambled on fourth down, gave the ball to Montana State in great field position. They drove down the field and looked like they were going to set up for a game-winning field goal. They were around the 25-yard line. And when you got no timeouts, the last thing you want to do is take a sack. They took a sack. The very next play, the ball snapped over the quarterback's head. So they go from field goal range to the other side of the field. They punt the ball back to Illinois State. Illinois takes the knee. We go to overtime. Illinois State scores, but the extra point was blocked. Illinois State stopped Montana State 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
4th and goal.
Last play, they're done if they don't get a first
down.
down.
A 15-yard.
Yeah,
15-yard line, I think. And somehow this guy's left wide open. Montana State scores, and then they make the extra point and they win the national championship. Bizarre ending to the regulation, and they carry over in overtime. And kudos to the Bobcats. They've been the bridesmaid several times.
Yeah, they ever won it before, right? That's the first time.
It's been since the 80s.
Yeah, they've been close though.
It was either them or South Dakota State. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. So, yeah, but I mean, Illinois State. What did they? They went to North Dakota State and won. They went to UC Davis and won. Then they went back across the country to Villanova and won. And then they nearly won this game in Nashville.
They won 4 playoff games on the road. I think they also beat at Lehigh, I think.
Lehigh. So they went back kind of near Villanova area. But, 2024, North Dakota State won it last year. So, yeah, that's who they beat Montana State in the championship game. So that was a 35-32. That was, you're right, Montana State was close. This time they get it done. And they get the national title for the first time in a long time for them. I don't know if Illinois State's won it before.
No, they never have.
Yeah, that was as close.
This is the first time they've ever been to the national championship.
Right. Run for them, though. Run for them to get there, just that close to winning it. But Montana State ends up getting the title on a 4th down touchdown. In Division II, this championship actually happened a few weeks ago, December 20th. I think we talked about it a little bit. Ferris State winning back-to-back titles in D2 to beat Harding 42-21. Ferris State, well, along with Indiana, might be the only unbeaten teams in college football now. They finished 16-0. As obviously Montana State had 2 losses in FC and 1 AA, and we said the D3 champion Wisconsin River Falls did have 1 loss, but Ferris State went 16-0. Harding had been in that game, so both teams were 15-0 coming into that game. But for Ferris State, they went for over 5,000 yards and 72 touchdowns in a triple option offense. 4th national title in 5 years for them. They have dominated Division II. Boy, you don't see the triple option a lot, but man, those numbers you put up running the ball like that, it's like the Navy and Army used to do as well. That's a lot of rushing yards. But
Yeah, and to lose Trinity Chambliss, who's now
right.
he's playing at Ole Miss, and
Yeah.
to run the table again.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they've got a heck of a program over there. For years it was always Grand Valley State, which I believe is in the same conference with Ferris State, because Grand Valley is also
They're in Michigan, yeah.
in Michigan too.
Mhm.
So they've kind of taken over the throne for not just the state and the conference, but the entire nation. They've become the team to beat, and they continue to set a bar.
So that's a look at the Division II, the Division I AA, and Division III champions.
I was trying to find this tweet that I had the other day. I told you about it earlier. I can't find it right now, but somebody put out. It can't be that long ago, because those games literally just ended a day or 2 ago, but I can't find it. But anyway, take out Montana State. Every level was won by a team in the Midwest.
Right.
When you count NAIA, you count JUCO, and there's different levels of JUCO. There's different levels of NAIA. Division III, Division II, 1AA. Take out Montana State, and the Midwest has won every championship. So if Indiana wins, how incredible will that be that one region has dominated the national?
Keep in mind, Ohio State won it last year, so
right,
you're going to keep that. Maybe if you keep that in the Midwest for FBS, even that'll be interesting in the Big Ten. But yeah, you're right. Indiana could make it almost a clean sweep for the Midwest, with the exception of Montana. Montana State. If Illinois State had won that, it would have been a clean sweep. Almost Indiana won. So we'll see if that happens. But all right, the last bowl games to take a look at from last week. These are the games New Year's Day through actually Friday, Thursday and Friday. Well, there were some games on New Year's Eve we'll talk about as well. But the Citrus Bowl, this one ended up coming down to the wire. This was really back to the 3 quarters. But then in the 4th quarter, Texas took over. Arch Manning had a 60-yard touchdown run in the 4th quarter of this game, and Texas wins at 41-27 over Michigan. So the Longhorns end up 10-3 outside of the playoff. Good into the season for them. Had a tough beginning. I tell you, Arch Manning looked pretty good as the season went on for Texas. I think you're going to watch him next year. Obviously, making him the Heisman favorite this year is a bad idea, but I think we're going to see next year. We'll see him back in there. He's coming back to Texas.
Well, I mean, yeah, they rebounded, but all I can think about is how they went to Gainesville. They were going to massacre Florida.
That was a long time ago. You're right.
This was the game that's supposed to be game day was going to be at.
Yeah.
Florida was supposed to be a lot better. Texas was loaded, and Texas got. I think it was a close game.
It was close. They made it close. Florida led the whole game. But yeah.
That's what registers in my mind. It's like you lost to a terrible Florida team. And I know they rebounded. They still won 10 games. And everybody's due for a bad day. But that's what I think of when I think of.
Well, they lost to Ohio State the first game, 14-7. That was rough. Then they lost to Florida. But then they started winning games. They beat Texas A&M, who was unbeaten as well. They had some wins. They beat Vanderbilt. So they had some good wins down the stretch. Their third loss was to Georgia. So, those 2 losses, Georgia and Ohio State, you can forgive. The Florida loss, yeah,
that was not good. And at that point, Texas
that was not good. And at that point, they're playing well. But over the Gators. That day Florida played, I mean, that might have been Napier had in Gainesville. I mean, other than the Ole Miss game last year, Florida won when they beat Lane Kiffin and knocked them out, but 24. But anyway, Florida beats Texas 29-21 in that game. So, yeah, one way to look at it. We'll see, though. I'm sure Texas will be highly ranked again next season. Florida will again play them next year in Austin again. So it'll be the third year in a row they played Texas. So we'll see how that works out. Archie wants some revenge on the Gators next year in Austin. The Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska was in this game for a while, and Utah pulled it away 44-22 as they head into the non-Kyle Whittingham era. And by the way, Michigan hiring Kyle Whittingham, that story was last week as well. Came out, I believe, on New Year's Eve. And Michigan played the next day with the interim coach, who will not stay there. But Kyle Whittingham coming in. And Utah, who did they hire? They hired a coach?
Maybe a coach in waiting. I don't remember exactly.
Oh, you do have a coach in waiting. That's right. They did.
Yeah, because Kyle Whittingham had a coach in waiting.
Yeah, they moved up. The name escapes me now, but you're right. They had a guy that they moved up. They had for about 5 or 6 years. They've been coaching waiting. And now he will be the head coach. Kyle Whittingham, after 21 years, stepped down. That is who is that? See, I'm blanking on it because I just saw the guy last week. Morgan Scalley, that's the coach now at Utah. So he will take over. He actually was with Urban Meyer at Utah. He played for Urban Utah and then was an assistant coach as well. So Utah gets the win. Nebraska, disappointing end of the year, 7-6. They finished up after a good start. They get blown out in Las Vegas Bowl. Reliant West Bowl. This one surprised me a little bit. Vanderbilt, though, got off to a bad start in this game, but to give up 34 points to Iowa, I don't know what Vanderbilt's defense was doing, but Iowa holds off Vandy 34-27. So not a great way for the Commodores season to end. They do finish 10-3. I had a feeling they may have been a little bit disappointed not being in the playoff to go to this game, and Iowa looked a little more ready to go. But,
but see, I don't think they really realistically had a shot to make the playoffs.
I thought they did. I mean, 10-2 was some of the games they won. I mean,
but it's Vanderbilt. The committee is not going to.
I mean,
just like how Alabama gets their way into the playoffs, it's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt,
legitimate, though,
they're going to turn the other cheek with them.
Yeah.
I will say, I did watch that game too, and Vanderbilt made one heck of a second half run.
They did
to make this a one-score game.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the time I was watching this game, Diego was running for his life.
Yeah,
that Iowa defense was in the backfield all day.
That's normal. Iowa is a good defensive team normally. In fact, giving up 27 is a lot for them, but scoring 34 is a lot as well. But that's a good win for Iowa to end the season. And it's a tough way for Diego Pavia's career to end at Vanderbilt, but I know we'll see him in the NFL coming up here in the next few years as well. Sun Bowl, this was a really good game. This one I watched back and forth. Arizona State led late. Duke, boy, that was wild too, because I think Duke got a stop. Arizona State stopped Duke on downs at like the 5. And then the next play, they fumbled. At like the
Arizona State got like a 15-yard run.
Yeah, they fumbled.
And he fumbled his
at
going
the 20-yard line. And Duke threw a touchdown pass, and then they held on 42-39, where the wide receiver jumped into the big bowl of Frosted Flakes, which was awesome. You got between the Pop-Tarts and the Frosted Flakes, we had a good balanced breakfast.
And in case you were dying to know, they did douse the coach with Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, they should. Tony the
and
Tiger
I think one of the coaches was actually eating Frosted Flakes after the game, too.
They were. That was pretty funny. So I'm glad they get into that, kind of like they did the Pop-Tarts Bowl. But, yeah, the Frosted Flakes, the player jumping into the big bowl of Frosted Flakes was fun to see. And Duke gets a good win for them. They finish up winning the ACC championship and a good year, 9-4 or 10-4, 9-5. I think they ended up. So good win for them over Arizona State out in the Sun Bowl. Armed Forces Bowl, Texas State, no problem with Rice, 41-10. Rice was one of those. And by the way, there were 3, 5, and 7 teams that made bowls. They all lost. So I mean, I guess we figured that might happen, but Rice was one of those, and they lost pretty big to Texas State, 41-10.
Which is weird because I was at Sonny's in Palaca watching this game because they got TVs everywhere in Sonny's.
Yeah.
And why are you watching
Alachua,
this game? Well, because it was on literally every TV in Sonny's. And it was like during the day, like 2:00 in the afternoon. It was an early game or maybe a noon game. This game was actually scoreless in the first quarter. The second quarter, it was maybe 10-0. And then all of a sudden, Texas State exploded.
Mm-hmm.
So this game went from a really close game to a blowout real quick.
Yeah.
Texas State is a team to watch because they don't think I included it in my notes with you, but I did a thing where I look ahead to next year. Texas State actually is jumping conferences. Oh yeah, they doing the new Pac-12 next year.
Yeah, that's right. I heard about that. Yeah, they're they're gonna compete in that, no doubt. The new Pac-12, which I got to look at some of those teams that are going in there, but they ended the season though with a win. The Armed Forces Bowl that is in Fort Worth. So Texas State beats Rice, two Texas teams there. This game really wasn't close either. Navy ran over Liberty early, 35-13, and the or Cincinnati, pardon me, in the Liberty Bowl, 35-13, Navy over Cincinnati. So Navy ends the year with 10 wins as well. And actually, no, 11. They went 11-2, I think.
Yeah, 11-2, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
what another good year for Navy.
13 games.
Yeah, they were impressive in this game too against Cincinnati.
I still don't understand, and I will say this every single week, why Navy and Army were not in the military bowl. Like, it's literally in the name, military bowl.
Well, they already played, but yeah, you're right. They could play again in a bowl game, I guess. The regular season game was really good too. I mean, to see a rematch of that would have been fun to watch. But Navy gets the win there over Cincinnati. Holiday Bowl. This was also on January 2nd. I didn't see any of this game. I know SMU was up 24-0. Arizona came back to make it close, but SMU led this whole game and a little bit of a surprise to me. Knocked off Arizona 24-19 in San Diego.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised by that one too because we both picked Arizona to win that game, and SMU kind of came in limping into this game. The last couple of games, they were struggling. Yeah. They lost to Cal.
Yeah, they would have played in the ACC championship game, but they lost that game late to Cal, and that put Duke in against Virginia. So, right, tough loss for them. This end, they get a bowl win to finish off the regular season. And then I did see this game, the Mayo Bowl. This one was pretty good for a while, but again, Mississippi State, another 5-7 team in a bowl game, they lose, and Wake Forest beats them 43-29. Wake Forest, though, impressive. Good year for them. They end up with 9 wins as well. They had a good year, and they looked good in this game. They moved the ball pretty well against Mississippi State. This was kind of a fun game to watch, and the coach gets their Mayo back.
Offensively, Wake Forest might be one of the best teams in the country. They got so many weapons. I remember seeing them early in the year against NC State on a Thursday night. I think NC State won that game, but it came down to the last couple of seconds.
But defensively, they're not that great. I mean,
they're not that great team. That early in the year looked good, but then the kind of reality hit. Good one for Wake Forest, and that team's something to look out for. Now, the next segment, I listed all the bowl scores. We don't have to go over every single bowl, but I did want to ask you. Now that everything's done, what are some of the bowl games for you that stood out?
Yeah, because we went over these scores before.
Yeah.
Well, as I look at this list too, probably from the games from last week, I would say that the Sun Bowl, and then the Citrus Bowl, Texas and Michigan, really stood out as well. You mentioned that Iowa Vandy game and probably the Navy game and the Liberty Bowl. But looking back at some of these other bowls, the Hawaii Bowl, Hawaii making that big comeback against Cal at home
down 21-0. Yeah,
win 35-31. The Rate Bowl in Minnesota, New Mexico, in overtime, the Minnesota receiver makes a great catch in the back of the end zone to win the game over New Mexico, that was third down, I think. So that was a big win there. The Pop-Tarts Bowl, Georgia Tech had a chance to win it at the end. They led through the first 3 quarters, threw a pick in the end zone that Haynes King did, but a good game. Georgia Tech went back and forth in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And, of course, always the ability to see the runaway Pop-Tart this year that got away and did not get put in the oven, the toaster oven. So,
well, we were here last week when the TCU USC game. I'm not sure if it was over yet.
No, it was going on. We were here during the Music City Bowl, Illinois.
Right. Illinois beating Tennessee.
That surprised me a little bit. Illinois beat Tennessee in Nashville, 30-28. It's a good ball game there. But yeah, you're right. That TCU game, they went back and forth. USC led most of the game, but TCU, and in fact, I think it was on a third and really long. They threw a touchdown like on the screen to win the game, and USC looked like they had already sacked them. There was a penalty. It looked like TCU was going to settle a long field goal, and then they had a screen pass to beat USC. That was the Alamo Bowl, 30-27. So, good way for TCU to end their season.
The bowl of the year to me, though, was the New Mexico Bowl with North Texas and San Diego State. They set all kinds of records for most points scored in the game, most total yards.
49-47, yep.
That was
The
a
wild, crazy. That's what you want to see in a bowl game.
wild,
Yeah, I
crazy.
agree. And
That's what
Texas
you want
had
to
a
see in
really
a bowl
good
game.
year. That's a team that lost in the championship game of their conference to Tulane and the American. So they came back with a good win there. The Pinstripe Bowl was kind of boring. It was cold in Yankee Stadium. Penn State pulled away late to beat Clemson. Not a great year for Clemson. The Gator Bowl was also not very interesting. Virginia and Missouri was a defensive battle. Missouri could not move the ball, and Virginia wins at 13-7. Houston Bowl was good. I mean, LSU that early came back. They basically were playing at home. They're at NRG Stadium in Houston, and they held off LSU 38-35. And East Carolina that surprised me a little bit. 23-17 Military Bowl. And Army just all over UConn at the Fenway Bowl, 41-16. So those are some good wins as well.
Earlier in the bowl season, we had the Cure Bowl in Orlando. Old Dominion beat South Florida
A little bit of surprise.
24-10. Well, the interesting about that story is the starting quarterback, it's Bynum Brown, was the starting quarterback for South Florida. He opted to not play in the game, and he decided to be a coach,
Yeah,
an assistant coach for South Florida in the bowl game.
right.
They brought in a kid who was a junior or senior who had never played much in that game, and that's why Old Dominion didn't win the game. Well, the interesting thing is he went in the portal. So you think he opted out because he's going to go get ready for the pros.
Right.
He opted out because he knew he was going to the portal. And a couple of days ago, he committed to Auburn.
Okay.
I believe he's committed to Auburn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I heard that story. And they're following his coach to Auburn, I guess, as well, as you said.
Yeah.
Some other teams, Washington ends the year with a win over Boise State in the LA Bowl, but Delaware, their first ever bowl game, first season in D1, they win over Louisiana 2013, the 68 Ventures Bowl. I think that was in Mobile. I forget.
Yeah, it was in Mobile, I think.
The Salute for Veterans Bowl was in Montgomery, and that was between two Alabama teams, Jacksonville State beat Troy. And then the Missouri State playing in their first bowl gave Arkansas State a run in the Xbox Bowl, but Arkansas State wins that one 34-28. Kennesaw State's first bowl game didn't go very well. Western Michigan blew them out at the Myrtle Beach Bowl 41-6. And NC State all over Memphis 31-7 at the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa. And again, you had Louisville over Toledo in the Boca Raton Bowl, so they finished the season with a win as well. By the way, Toledo in that game, their coach is – I don't remember where their head coach went. He took another job. They were being coached by Robert Wiener, who you might remember used to coach Plant High School in Tampa and led in a bunch of state titles. So he coached them in that game as the interim coach, which I thought was interesting.
I was listening to that game on the way going to work, thanks to 850 in Gainesville. There was literally a set of plays, I'm guessing 4 or 5 plays, where you get the ball, I get the ball, you get the ball, I get the ball. They kept turning the ball over. Louisville was in the red zone, turned the ball over to Toledo.
Yep.
Toledo, couple plays later, picks up a first down, gives it right back to them.
Yep.
Just that type of game. But it turned out to be a great game, 27-22.
Yeah, Louisville held on to win that game. And by the way, you mentioned AMA 50 WRUF in Gainesville. I think I heard almost every one of these bowl games on the radio in Gainesville. I know I can tell you at least Gasparilla, Potato, Boca Raton, New Orleans, Frisco, those bowls as well. I heard all those games also on the radio. So most of these games were on WRUF at some point. But yeah, that was good to at least have that to check it out, and not all the games I could see on TV
also,
as well.
we mentioned a couple of the bowls, but one that surprised me too was the Frisco Bowl. Ohio out of the MAC upsetting UNLV, which won 10 games this year.
UNLV only scored 10 points, and they're a high-scoring team. I know that was a kind of an odd game too there. So, and UTSA putting 57 on FIU at the First Responder Bowl, 57-20. The Roadrunners of UTSA get it done there. So not a great bowl game for FIU either as well. And the Soup Dog Arizona Bowl goes to Fresno State 18-3 over Miami of Ohio. And Georgia Southern and App State, you had a rivalry game there in Birmingham. Georgia Southern wins that 29-10.
It's almost similar to Georgia Tech, where Georgia Tech is I keep thinking he hate me, but it's something friendly hate. Help me out here. What's the rivalry?
Oh, good old fashioned hate.
Good
That's what they
old-fashioned
call
hate.
Georgia
I knew it was
Tech.
something
Yeah.
hate.
Yeah.
That rivalry is something similar. They have a trophy,
Oh.
and it's like friendly hate or something like that.
We've lost
weird
you.
situation where they had to play
Each other, but that's because
Sorry, we lost
Notre
you.
Dame backed out last minute.
Yeah, that's right. So, and App State was another 5-7 team in a bowl game, and they lost. So,
Mhm.
and again, that was kind of the story of those games. Louisiana Tech rallied to beat Coastal Carolina in the Independence Bowl 23-14, and that kind of sums up most of the bowl games. You take a look at the bowl standings, not including playoff games. I see Corey did that. The ACC ends up 6-4 with 10 teams in bowl games. The American went 5-3. The same record as the Big Ten. They all had 8 teams. Both had 8 teams. They went 5-3. Conference USA ended up 4-3 with 7 teams, along with the Big 12, who had 7 teams and 4-3. The Sun Belt had 9 teams in bowl games, went 4-5. Again, kind of that has to do with some teams that dropped out of bowl games. The Mid American 5, they went 2-3. The Mountain West with 7 teams, they went 2-5. The Pac-12 had 1. Washington State went 1-0. And at the bottom is the SEC. 6 teams, only one bowl game, 1-5, and that was Texas.
Yep.
Texas was the only team. And then if you count,
Hashtag it means less.
yeah,
That's what I kept seeing.
and if you also count A&M losing to Miami, which you didn't.
That's the next one.
Yeah. And you had Georgia lose to Ole Miss. They had them losing to an SEC team as well. And you had Alabama lose to Indiana after beating Oklahoma.
Go to the next one down.
Oh, you got it down. And Independence went 0-1. That was UConn, I believe, right? Yeah. UConn, Independent?
Yeah. They lost to Army.
That was the independent team. They
Yeah.
lost. Okay, if you include the playoffs, it doesn't get much better for the SEC.
Oh, hold on, before you get to that. So they give out a trophy to the conference that has the best record, but but it's not by whoever has the most wins. It's done by winning percentage.
Oh, well, that's still.
So I don't know if the ACC actually won it, or if the American and the Big Ten would have won it because they went 5-3. So,
so they don't count the playoff games in those. Those bowl standings.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, in that case, if you include this, the Big Ten and ACC still
it
have
seems
it.
like you couldn't, because how can you penalize a conference for not having teams in the playoffs? So it seems like it shouldn't count.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That might make a difference because the Big Ten's 9-4. Indiana and Oregon are playing each other, so one of those is going to be in the championship. So you're going to have at least 2 more. And then Miami, if Miami can win out, the ACC would be 10-4. So they could actually pass the Big Ten overall if Miami can beat Ole Miss and then Indiana, Oregon. So that the ACC is 8-4, so not bad for them. But I don't know. I have to figure that out. Otherwise, you said the ACC 6-4. I'd have to look at the percentages. It's 5. I have a calculator here that can tell.
Well, the
me.
ACC would be 600.
Yeah, they're at 600. That much I know. But I'm trying to remember what 5 and 8 is. Damn it. Sorry.
Probably 400. No, it can't be 400.
Divided by 8. No, it's 62.5. So that actually is better.
Okay, so the American and the Big Ten right now have
Yep.
would hold the title.
Yeah, they do. So,
and if they count in playoffs, then the Big Ten would be the winner too.
Right. So, but not including the playoffs, the Big Ten 9-4, or including the playoffs, ACC 8-4, American 5-4, the Big 12 ends up 4-4, the SEC 4-9. The SEC only has Ole Miss left. The ACC has Miami left. The Big Ten has Indiana and Oregon. And then the Sun Belt went 4-6 because Tulane was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then James Madison was from the American, right?
I think so, yeah.
No, Tulane was the American. James Madison was the Sun Belt, other way around. So that's right. And then Texas Tech for the Big 12 got knocked out. And you already lost Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia from the SEC. So,
Yeah.
so that's how that looks. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say, as you look at the first round now, scores, going back to that. First round of Division I playoffs. Number 19, Alabama beat the 8 Oklahoma 34-24. 5 seed Oregon 51, the 12 seed James Madison 34. 6 seed Ole Miss beat 11 seed Tulane 41-10, and the 10 seed Miami winning at the 7 seed Texas A&M 10-3. Quarterfinals last week, the 10 seed Miami beats the 2 seed Ohio State 24-14 at the Cotton Bowl in Arlington. I did not see any of this. The 5 seed Oregon 23, 4 seed Texas Tech nothing. The Orange Bowl.
That game was boring. I saw
I
bits and
listened to
pieces
some
of
of
that.
it. It sounded boring. And Oregon dominated really throughout. Texas Tech couldn't do anything offensively in that game.
Oregon actually scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was
I think.
actually close. It was really had very low scoring. I was a little surprised Oregon pitched a shutout considering they gave up 34 James Madison. The defense really, to me, as an
To my knowledge, Texas Tech didn't even come close to
so
scoring.
either.
They didn't miss the field goal. They just couldn't do
dominated by
nothing.
Oregon in that game. And speaking of domination, then the Rose Bowl, number 1 seed Indiana 38, the 9 seed Alabama 3. And then that night, the Sugar Bowl, this was the best game of the 4. 6 seed Ole Miss 39, 3 seed Georgia 34. The game that went back and forth and back and forth on New Year's night. It's funny. One nice thing about that is, although it's kind of odd that there's 2 SEC teams playing, because my tradition has always been just like you, kind of the Rose Bowl in the afternoon on New Year's Day, the Sugar Bowl is at night, and the Orange Bowl is early. They play at the same time now. They used to be the Orange Bowl and Sugar Bowl played at the same time. One was on NBC, one was on ABC, but the Sugar Bowl should be on New Year's night. So that's what I thought was kind of neat about it. Having Georgia in it, Ole Miss being there was a little different, although they've been there late. 2 SEC teams playing them. 2 SEC, yeah. It was really a good ball game. It was really a good ball game.
Well, and this is the problem they're going to continue to have is they put out a schedule, and then depending on who advances, they have to change the schedule around because you don't want to give anybody a home field advantage. And that's why Miami.
Yeah, what's funny about that? If Miami beats Ole Miss, they're playing the national championship game in their home stadium.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you don't know how it's going to work out, but yeah, you're right.
Well, that
can change. I mean, that one's been said.
But keep in mind, all they have to do is beat Ole Miss, and they're going to be at home for the national title against Indiana or Oregon. But Oregon played them.
I mean, Texas Tech would have played in Dallas in the Cotton Bowl, but they don't want teams to have a home field advantage.
Bowl, yeah.
Right.
Ohio State went to the
Right,
Cotton.
right.
Indiana.
But it was weird seeing the Rose Bowl during the day.
They battled rain.
The night
Yeah, it was raining there a lot.
early in the morning.
And it stopped raining right before the game there, apparently. But yeah, it was a little different weather for them. That game usually is late afternoon going into the Sugar Bowl, but and by the way, once again, the teams with byes only go 1-3. They're 1-7 in 2 years. Something tells me that's going to change.
Well, the Oregon coach was very adamant about they need to push the season back, and if that means playing games in week 0, so be it. He wants the national championship game to end on New Year's Day.
Really? That's going to be tough.
There's a push. Yeah, there's a push.
They're going to have to really end the season.
They want to back.
That's going to make the season early. Yeah, right. And I can't really see that happening. I don't know, going any earlier in August, but maybe, I don't know.
He's like, to play your national championship game January 19 is ludicrous. They want the season to end earlier. I mean, these people are in class in August, sometime September, but
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I wouldn't be opposed to it
Because New
Year's Day has always been like the day that you used to watch all the big important bowl games.
Yeah, you're right, and that was the day. And even though the thing was, there was a lot of controversy because there wasn't really there was no consensus over who the national champion would be.
The other thing too was there's going to be a push for this too. Everybody wants to see home field in the national championship game because all the teams
that's going to take the bowl games out.
Indiana, Texas Tech, Georgia, and Ohio State should have been playing at home, and they don't experience that. But meanwhile, the other teams in the first round got to play at home, and so I heard that too, that they want to have all but the championship game. The championship game will always be a neutral site, but everything else, semifinals, quarterfinals, should be at
Yeah, you know what you were saying. January 19th, pretty late. Next year's game, January 25th in
Mm.
Las Vegas. The
I remember
2027 game, January 24th in New Orleans.
when Florida played for the national championship, I guess against Nebraska.
They played on January 2nd.
No, wait, Urban was there, so it was like 2000.
That was like January in the Orange Bowl, like January 8th or something.
I remember Urban complaining that, look, my team's been off for 40 something days.
Yeah, that was the Fiesta Bowl too when they beat Ohio State in Glendale. But
I
yeah,
remember him complaining about
Right.
the layoff and having so many days off. And I think that's what we're coming to is and we're seeing it with 1-7 because the teams have buys and they haven't played since the conference championship games, which were early December.
right.
We're seeing a lot of rust. So I would be, we're hopefully going to go to home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and eventually I think we're going to go to 16.
Yeah, I think that's coming. 16 is coming. I agree. And if
And
I think
then in the buys,
see, and that's the thing. I thought probably we should have gone from 4 to 8 instead of 4 straight to 12. But now that we're at 12, we're not going back to 8. We're going to 16. It's going to keep going.
it's
up.
only going to keep going forward.
Right, exactly.
I mean, 1AA has been at 24 forever,
yeah, that's right.
and it's been working. I mean, no one's
Yeah.
complaining about.
They don't
I
complain.
mean,
about it.
except for number 25, no one's complaining
Right.
that there's too many teams in the playoffs. The part that's going to suck is the bowl game, though. And
Well, I don't see. That's why I don't think this is going to happen. Because I don't think the bowl games are
I
going to
really don't think, they got to figure out how to have the bowl games if they go to home field advantage. But to me, it seems like it would be pretty set in stone, push everybody up. So, based on how old the bowl is, all those games get first pick.
Right.
So if you've only recently had a bowl game, you go to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So like the Gator Bowl, the Rose Bowl would all get first picks. And select those teams. And then if there's anybody left, then you go to Shreveport. You go to Birmingham. You go to, Bahamas Bowl, but now it's called something else. But that's
Frisco.
a filler bowl. But yeah, you go to the lesser bowls if there's less teams available.
Okay.
And that way, you don't piss off the Gator Bowl or the Peach Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, not military, Liberty Bowl, Music City Bowl, the big bowl.
Well, but see, right now you have the same bowls in the playoff. You've got the Peach.
Can I get a water?
Yeah. Oh. No.
No, well, him, but not me.
Yeah,
Can I get water?
Coke, actually.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Sorry about that. We got distracted by the waitress.
That's okay.
But
Yeah, that's what happens.
home field advantage, and then the bowl games need to be reworked because really, even
Okay.
the lesser bowls, nobody really cares about those.
No, that's what I'm saying. The only games that are in the playoff right now are the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Orange, Cotton, Sugar, Fiesta. That's it. Those are your playoff games, basically. And so those are the only games that really do matter. You're right. The bowls like the Gator Bowl are just here. They're just there. I mean, teams will go play in them because
Yeah, but if we would have had Michigan and Texas in the Gator Bowl this year, yeah, that would have been amazing.
but instead it was Virginia,
So the
Missouri.
teams that don't make the playoffs, you have like a ranking.
Yeah, Texas,
Okay,
Michigan's
Michigan,
a good match.
Texas, first you'd say go to the Rose Bowl because the Rose Bowl is the oldest bowl. But then
Right.
you go in order of how old they are. And then the Gator Bowl would have
Thank you.
one of the best picks. And so we have a great matchup. I mean, we don't get this Missouri, I almost said Vanderbilt. Missouri,
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah, that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
And you still take care of the big bowls. And I'm sorry, less bowls that are not that old. I mean, now, if there's a less bowl that's been around since the 40s or 50s, yeah, you take care of them. But any bowl that's created recently, I'm sorry, you are in jeopardy of losing your bowl game.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of bowl games. The Gator Bowl was started in the 40s. The Gator Bowl is one of the older ones.
Right.
That should be taken care of. The Orange Bowl should be taken care of. I agree. The Peach Bowl, although it came around a little later, the Peach Bowl's in Atlanta. I get it. But no, you're not going to have the Music City or the Music City Bowl or although That one's been around a little.
Yeah,
while now.
I would want to keep that one, but I mean, there are a bunch of bowls that I'd be like,
Not
all
the
right.
one in Detroit, Ford Field, or that game, or the what else would there be?
Well, that's only been recently because they needed to build another bowl game because of numbers.
I call it the Motor City Bowl still, but it's changed its name a few times.
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
Little Caesars Bowl.
The Rate Bowl, the one in Phoenix, they play at the
Oh, by the way,
the
when
Holiday
Indiana
Bowl.
killed Alabama.
Sorry, yeah.
That was the first bowl win for Indiana since 1991 Copper Bowl.
Copper Bowl. I saw that. Yeah. And then, you know who
Yeah.
their coach was then? It was Bill Mallory, who had coached at Miami of Ohio before that. It's kind of funny. And Illinois or Indiana had some decent teams in the late 80s, early 90s, but then they were really bad for a long time. So the next, by the way, this year's national title game is in Miami Gardens. The next 4 years, 2026, it's in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. 2027, the Superdome in New Orleans. 2028, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And then in 2029, back to Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. So 2 years in a row there in Florida. We'll have to get the show down there when it's in Tampa or something.
I'm all for going to Tampa.
Shoot, we could go to Miami. It's a 5-hour drive there. That's going to be January 19th. But anyway, that's a look at.
Does that have the dates on those games?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Next year's game is January 24th,
Right.
25th,
What about the two in Florida?
22nd, 21st.
Mm.
So yeah, it's going to be late for a while. At least they're settled the schedule that way.
Well, they got to wait for the contract to end.
Right. So it's hard to believe we've had this now since 2014. This playoff. So we've been going on now 12 years with the college football playoff.
Well, and some people would argue that we should go back to the BCS. But how much controversy would that cause?
I mean, the BCS.
Still was
The BCS worked in some ways, but in the end, it was still controversy. And this one, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you don't maybe not like the system, like the number of teams and teams getting left out, but the teams are playing each other that should play each other. And I mean, last year, Ohio State and Notre Dame got hot. They were the 8th seed and the 7th seed. They didn't seed them right, probably. But the year before that, the 1 and 2 seeds played. Well, that was the 14th. So it was easy to do that. But anyway, all right. Well, we don't have a whole lot of time left, actually. We got into our debate about the playoff, which
Well, we got plenty of time. We're only at
Yeah, you're right. We got about 10 minutes, 12 minutes or so. Yeah, we started a little bit late.
Well,
We do, but
we're only down to 3 games. So
we don't have a lot of games to pick. That's the
let's
thing.
talk about the pick'ems.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling. I know.
It goes back to almost 2 weeks now because
Yeah, and I know I lost some tough ones there. So,
Yeah. Well, actually, it's very interesting. So you went 7-11.
I know the playoffs were.
I went 9-9.
Yeah, I mean,
Guess what? 2 games decided this:
It was the FCS and the
FCS and Division
OT.
3.
Division 3. Yeah, I know. One
So-
went to OT, and the other one involving a team.
So with that said, you had a 1-game lead going into that. Now you're down. Now you're down 1. 226. Yeah, it's 226 to 114. 227. 227
take
to
out
113.
God, what was I thinking?
Well, I
there?
picked Bama too.
I know, and I should have taken Ole Miss. I was really thinking about it, but and I don't know what I was thinking taking Texas Tech either. But
I'm trying to see what games we
and by the
have
way, the
different.
schedule,
And by the
just
way,
in case you know, the semifinals tomorrow night, the Fiesta Bowl is 7:30 ESPN. 6 seed Ole Miss 13-1 against the 10 seed Miami 12-2, and then Friday night the Peach Bowl in Atlanta is the number 1 seed Indiana 14-0, the 5 seed Oregon 13-1 at 7:30 on ESPN. By the way, Miami and Oregon are favored. I'm a little surprised in both those games.
Ironically, the only 2 games we had different were those.
I know, I remember. I don't know how that happened.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
we finished in a
A little bit
tie.
on that.
All right, so with that,
All right, so with that said,
Game
let's.
ahead now,
I'm a game ahead.
I'm a game ahead. I was a game behind. Now I'm a game.
So,
ahead.
and then the championship is January 19th in Miami, 7:30 on
Yeah,
ESPN.
obviously, we're not picking that.
yeah, obviously we're not picking that.
Yeah, we
game.
only got 2 games.
No,
So,
wait,
well,
2 games this week.
let's
we got
do
2 games
depth
this
in
week,
this
so.
Thursday night, tomorrow night, Fiesta Bowl, Ole Miss in Miami. I'm going to let you go first.
Miami has.
Miami has a great.
They really
defense.
do.
They really do.
The offense is okay. They
That
do,
guy is. His name, their big defensive end Miami had. He's might be the number 1 draft pick in the draft. He's
The
really good.
offense.
The offense is sporadic,
They seem to come.
but they seem to
The light
come.
bulb comes on.
The light bulb comes on in the
They
fourth
need to run
quarter.
the ball.
when they need to run the ball, and they run the ball really well. They got a bevy of tailbacks.
Carson,
Carson
didn't try to do
too much, and he doesn't have to because he's got all those
and then they
tailbacks.
have a great.
And then they have great defense.
Miami's played great defense.
Miami's played great defense so far in their first 2 playoff games.
Only giving up
14,
3, I think.
and
Yeah,
3, I
3 and 14. A&M and Ohio
17
State.
points in 2 games.
17 points in 2
Meanwhile,
games.
the offense.
Has scored 41 and 24.
No, they scored 10.
I'm sorry, 10.
Or sorry,
Ole
10. I
Miss,
was the
yeah.
wrong one.
Yeah. I like Ole Miss.
I like Ole Miss to win this game because Ole Miss has got you.
If you go in there,
Okay, we're gonna stop this guy. We're gonna stop.
Okay,
this
we
guy.
got 10 more.
Okay, we got 10 more,
And they got most
amazing quarterback in the playoffs. I know Fernando. Fernando is not a mobile guy. He will stay in the pocket and throw it. Yes, he will occasionally run, but he's really a pocket passer. I think.
I don't know if we're doing picks.
I don't know if we're doing picks yet, but
Go ahead. No, we can talk some more.
Well, I'm picking Ole Miss.
I'm picking Ole Miss because I think Ole Miss has more talent.
Well,
Miami have better.
Miami have a better defense.
Ole Miss is a better offense.
Ole Miss
I gotta say, Miami beating Ohio State got my attention. I did not think they were going to beat Ohio State. Not only did they beat Ohio State, they kind of shut them down. That being said, Ole Miss can score. I mean, that's the thing. This is the best offensive team left, Ole Miss. And the thing about it is, at this point, it's starting to feel like a team of destiny a little bit. Just because, obviously, their coach is gone. And I think it's going to be a great story if Ole Miss wins the title with Lane Kiffin now at LSU. And here's the other thing. Their coaches are shuttling back and forth. I mean, that's got to be a lot. But I don't think this team seems to be affected by it a whole lot. And, it's funny because I thought you were going to take Miami. I was trying to figure out a way to tie it up because I actually – kind of like Ole Miss too, but we'll pick it in a minute. The Peach Bowl, you're taking Ole Miss, so I'm gonna think about it for a second. The Peach Bowl, though, Friday night, Indiana and Oregon. This is another. Well, actually, this is a game of two really good defenses. Indiana's defense is very good too. We've seen it. They shut down Alabama. Oregon, on the other hand, looked really good against Texas Tech.
I like Oregon's offense.
I mean, they won
a track meet with James Madison, 51-34. They shut out Texas Tech 23-0.
It's a different game. Yeah.
But
what
Indiana did to Alabama last week, nobody saw that coming. Indiana is so well rounded. They're good offensively, defensively, special teams.
I thought
they were just Fernando. Watching them the first they only played. But watching them against Alabama, I quickly learned. It's not just Fernando. They've got weapons.
Some guy was on radio.
Some guy was on radio the other day.
It might have been
Matt Hayes.
And he was spouting out.
So-and-so is the first round. So-and-so is the second round. So-and-so is the third round. I'm like, damn. That many NFL prospects?
Yeah, they do. And that's the thing. I don't think I'd really watched Indiana a lot this year. I've been seeing their winning. I think I saw them play Penn State, and I saw them play Oregon. And I still didn't know if they were as good as they have been advertised. But yeah, that game in the Rose Bowl I watched I was impressed. I did not think anybody beat Alabama that bad. So I was leaning towards Indiana here as well. Now. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Okay, because
so by the way, I'm picking Indiana.
I know. So right now, I'm either going to take Miami to tie you up, or I'm going to take Oregon, and I don't like either of those teams. So what we're going to do is, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take Ole Miss. I'm going to take Indiana. We'll have a one-game difference. Go into the championship game. I'm going to take whatever the opposite of yours is, and we're going to have total points.
Okay.
As a tiebreaker. So that'll make the last game worth something too. So, by the way, you put Indiana, Oregon, Miami, Georgia here. So, like, whoops.
Georgia's still around.
Oh,
they're not.
That's all right. I just thought it was funny.
I see that now.
But
I think I wrote that before the game ended. By the way, speaking of Georgia,
thank goodness they're gone. And by the way,
I think the
by the way,
referees tried to do everything they
make sure
could
Georgia was
to
gonna
make sure Georgia was going to
Yeah.
win
There
that
were
game.
so many.
There were so
BS
many
calls in the
BS
quarter.
calls in the fourth
You know,
quarter. When
Georgia was
when
driving.
Georgia was driving to win the game
with
with the final minute and a half of regulation.
pass interference on Ole Miss.
Pass interference on Ole Miss. Pass
Holding
interference
Ole
on Ole Miss. Holding Ole Miss.
It was so one-sided.
It was so one-sided.
And finally they got
And
a flag,
finally they got a
which
flag,
prevented them
which
scoring,
prevented
and they
them
got
from
field goal
scoring, and they got
to
a
force
field goal
overtime.
to force overtime.
And I don't remember in overtime.
And I don't remember in overtime if there was
But it
any
seemed
calls
like
like
the
that. But it
fourth
seemed
quarter-
like
What
the
team are you
fourth
talking
quarter, especially
Georgia was getting all the
Georgia
calls.
was getting all the calls.
Georgia Ole Miss didn't go to overtime.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
No, I was just thinking. No.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
Ole Miss
Ole
got
Miss
the long pass,
Ole Miss got the long
and then
pass,
got the field goal. You're right.
and then got the field goal. You're right. You're right.
Because Georgia left.
Because Georgia left way too much time left on
Scoreboard.
the scoreboard.
But
That's yeah.
but still, my point is,
Still, my
it seemed
point
like
is,
the referees
it
were trying to
seemed
do
like the
everything possible
referees
to
were
make
trying to do
sure
everything
Georgia wins.
possible to
Yeah.
make sure Georgia wins.
I heard
they-
that from
you know,
Ole Miss fans.
because
They were playing the refs and the Bulldogs.
And when you play Georgia,
And when you play Georgia, you're also
Yeah,
playing
how
the
does
refs.
Georgia now the team that gets all these calls? I mean, when did this
they
start?
become the Alabama.
They become the Alabama. I mean,
Alabama doesn't really
well-
get those anymore either, like they used to. But
No.
you're right.
No.
But I just like, why did Georgia?
they become the
Yeah,
bullet.
I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won enough, but and yeah, that's true. That was kind of a story late in that game, but that was a really good ball game. But so we will be January 19th is the national championship game. That's a week from next Monday in Miami. So we'll see what happens the next two nights with the semifinals, and we'll have a national championship game coming up. So we are down to the end. We already ended the high school show. So we only got a few more college shows left. Let's see. You want to do next? Let's see. We'll talk about it.
Next week we'll talk about it.
Okay.
We can have a big time preview of the championship.
We'll talk.
Well, because we'll talk about the semifinal.
Yeah, we can do that. We
games
can
and
actually look
look
ahead to a lot. We can look ahead to coaching. We can look back to our plays of the year. We can do a lot of stuff next week. So we'll come back next Wednesday and do it again. So next Wednesday, 8 to 9, we'll be back here at B for Brady's and Starke. By the way, how about them Jaguars? Corey's not saying anything. Yeah. Well, hey, the Bills are coming to town. That's always fun. So Buffalo is.
We do picks in the paper, and I was the only one to not pick the Jaguars.
Well, because I
Because I picked the Bills. I picked the Bills because of playoff experience. But then I did not understand that Josh Allen had a toe injury.
He does.
I didn't know that.
I didn't
Here's
know
another
that
stat:
ahead
the
of
Bills
time.
have not won a road playoff game in 32 years.
I heard that.
I heard that.
And but here, you know what? We should let's pick the NFL games real quick. I want to do that. These don't count. I just want to do and see where we feel. All right, because I'm curious. We got a little bit of time because we've got another college games left. All right, so Rams Panthers. LA and Carolina. Did you pick all the games?
Yeah, we did all the games.
Yeah, we did all of them.
Rams.
Yeah, I agree.
Rams.
Green Bay, Chicago.
I got no respect
No, they
for
shouldn't
Carolina.
be in the
Never
playoffs.
They should have never won that division. It was a three-way tie. They won some
Atlanta
silly
beat New Orleans
tiebreaker.
when Carolina got in. Yeah.
And not only did they get in, but they get a home.
Yeah, they're an
playoff.
8-9 team hosting a 12-5 team. The Rams might be the best team in the NFC. I like the Rams. Packers Bears Saturday night.
The Bears.
I'm leaning
Bears.
towards Green Bay this time. I don't know. I really am because I just feel like they should have won the last game. But I think the Packers may win this one. The Bears are
This is
kind
a
of.
game that was settled.
This is a game that will settle it
Packers
because
won the-
the Packers won
And
the
the
first
Bears,
one.
the
The
Packers had the
won
last game one, but then the Bears got an outside
Both
kick.
of those
And
games.
And both of those games, in fact, they're showing one of
that's
those
the game in
games
Green
on
Bay,
the TV right
Chicago,
now.
Green Bay won that one.
Yeah.
And this one's in Chicago, but I think the Packers are going to win. Sunday, okay, Bills Jags. We're taking Bills. I'm going to go with the Jags. Niners Eagles. You got the Niners? You got the Niners?
Yeah, Philadelphia's
They're
terrible.
the defending Super Bowl
The
champions.
NFC West.
The NFC West is going to
Defending Super Bowl
dominate.
champions. My only
playoffs.
problem with that is
It's going to be
It's going to be between the 49ers,
the Seahawks.
the Seahawks, and the Rams.
Yeah, the
NFC.
49ers have so many injuries.
Well,
Although I did pick in my
in my
predictions
column last
week
I said
that I said this recently. It's going to be a rematch of the '85
Bears
Super
and
Bowl.
Patriots?
The Bears
Wow,
and the
okay.
Patriots.
You think the Bears are going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, why not?
Hey, why not?
Yeah, I mean the Eagles aren't coming in playing
Tailored
well.
all the way.
Tailored all
They're
the way.
playing well. The Niners have so many injuries, and they got to go east.
But I said that.
But now thinking about it, this is obviously before the playoff brackets came out. I think the NFC West will be well.
Well, those are the best
represented.
teams. You're right, are in that division. But yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm kind of with you. I think I'll take the Niners too. There, Chargers and Patriots.
Patriots.
Much as I'd like the Chargers to win, I don't think that's going to happen in the cold in New England. Texas.
Because you want to know
You're
the
right,
home
they
team.
do.
That's why.
And I don't want to go to New England in the next round if they win. But they got to beat Buffalo first. And then Monday night.
Was it? Miles
Yeah,
Jack was
Miles Jack was
down.
down. So we're going to the
Gotta
Super
hear
Bowl.
that.
I got to hear that
Yeah,
all
you'll be
next
hearing
week
that
when
the
that
Patriots,
happens.
right. And then Monday night Texans and Steelers.
I actually debated.
I would
would
this
too.
game.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh. It's probably gonna be cold.
Definitely.
Houston,
Cold town a little bit.
cold town
But
a
I
little
like
bit.
the way the Texans.
But I like
They
the way
won
the
like
Texans
8
are
or
playing.
9
They
in a
won
row.
like 8 or 9.
They've
in a row.
won 9 in a row. The Jaguars have won 8 in a row. That's right.
So I think the Texans. will win.
So I think the Texans will win the game.
Yeah, I can see that, but for some reason, the Steelers, I feel like at home are going to pull it out somehow, like they did against the Ravens. So I'll go with Pittsburgh.
You like Aaron Rodgers?
You like Aaron Rodgers?
I don't like
to
Houston
lead them
either,
to the
but I
victory?
mean that's part of because they're in the Jags division. But I mean, I actually think Houston could win that game too. I don't know, but yeah,
By the way,
Talking NFL.
since we're talking NFL, I don't like the way they do the playoffs
they
because
need to reseed teams. They don't need to do it this way.
because
You're giving.
you're giving teams.
Well, the number one seed.
Well, the number one seed should get the better
home game.
home
but
game, but
If
who's the
trying to think,
who's the 7th seed? Green Bay.
the Green Bay would
So Green Bay would go to Seattle.
If the Packers win, they go to Seattle. If the Bears win, they host the Eagles Niners winner.
because I
If the
I
Niners
actually
won,
talked
then
about
they'd
this
go to
in-
Seattle. Yeah, the Eagles would go to the Bears.
Yeah,
there's going to be some
there's going to be some unfair advantages because
teams
of
that win.
teams that win, and
I feel like they need
I feel like they need to change the
Carolina
playoff.
getting-
Carolina getting in
giving
as
Carolina
one.
a home,
giving Carolina a home playoff game,
giving Pittsburgh.
giving
home playoff.
Pittsburgh a home playoff game.
Well,
Do you realize
Pittsburgh's
realize-
record is better.
Minnesota
Minnesota
and Detroit
had and Detroit
9-8,
both
yeah.
tied,
had better record?
had better record than
Should have gone to the
Carolina.
playoff.
They should have gone to the
Because
playoffs, but
Division winners
because division
automatically
winners
get in.
automatically get in.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with
Because
that.
you got to
I
give,
guess. Because you got
to give them a home playoff.
But to give them a
Cowboys
home
are
playoff.
only half game behind them.
Yeah, well, Cowboys are right there.
Yeah, well, Cowboys are
Cowboys are
right there, too.
7-9-1. If not for that tie, they would have
No,
been
they
8-9
finished
probably.
No, they were
Yeah.
they finished up
9.
Yeah,
eight-
7-9-1. They went.
Seven-
Yeah,
seven-
they played 17.
seven-
They tied that game with Green Bay. It was 9-7-1, but in the playoffs. And then you got the AFC. The AFC isn't as bad, although you do have Houston 12-5 going to Pittsburgh is 10-7. But Pittsburgh, at least I can understand it a little bit more. Houston didn't win their division. Jacksonville did. And you got Buffalo. Well, Buffalo's
But the
12-5.
Chargers.
But the Chargers going to well, okay, that's
New England's got a better record.
maybe not so much as the AFC.
Not so much in the AFC, no, at all. I think the only one that was at Houston had a better record than Pittsburgh, and so that was the only one. And they have a Fed winning record. So yeah, I get it. They do need to change that.
I remember when you're
I remember one year Seattle was playing New Orleans
They were
in Drew
8-8.
Brees,
and Seattle had much
and Seattle had a much better record than New
was
Orleans.
the other way
and they
around.
had to go.
other way around.
Seattle was
around.
home. They were 8-8. New Orleans was 12-4. Had to go there, and then they beat the
I mean,
Saints.
that,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
That was the
that stuff
Marshawn
needs
Lynch
to change.
earthquake game. Yeah. All right. Well, we got into a little bit of pro football there, but maybe we'll do that next week too, a little bit because the playoffs will be going on. But we'll talk more about the semifinals next week for college football, and then look ahead to the championship. So once again, thank you for Brady's and Starke. 3 for $11.99. 40 years of beefs. What's that? It's all about the O.
I don't mean Oregon.
And I don't mean Oregon.
Who are we talking about?
Or actually, yeah, it's more
Or
like,
actually, yeah, it's more like this. More like this.
Oh, Shark.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because
I was doing this because
Yeah, right,
Miss,
that's
but
what we're doing now, right?
that would be Oregon.
Colonel Reb. I don't know if they still use that, but all right, that's it. We'll talk to you next week again, 8 to 9 p.m. next Wednesday night here from B4 Brady's and Starke. For Corey Davis, I'm Marty Pallman. See ya and enjoy And semifinals coming up. We'll talk to you next week. Oh, that's
I
right.
can't believe we're only down to 2.